And Jerome and Larry wrote some specifications and had a local contractor modify this, clarify, so that we could use it as a substitute while the original equipment was being used. Now, the interesting thing about this is that Jerome and Larry are not a part of my engineering team, but they knew what needed to be done, and they did it, right? So, Jerome and Larry, if this operations thing doesn't work out for you,
Let's just say, I can think of a big wastewater treatment.
Great. So I'll just get over to, so working together with Terry Ann and Jamal, they were able to keep the Dundalk groundwater treatment facility operating at permit. As a matter of fact, the temporary system actually operated a little bit better than the existing system. So applause to you on that. And I think you only have, what, a couple more weeks left on the repairs of the current equipment, or as you told me, Larry, a month or so. So we made it through the difficult time. We're just about finishing up, and it's a great job that they did. So Jerome, Larry, Terry Ann, and Jamal, thanks for inspiring us.
Thank you.
Come on up. Oh, it's easy to tell Terry Ann. Thank you. Come this way.
I know, really.
Go, when you get to New Bern, go there. It's great. Thank you.
Thanks for all your hard work.
And who's got a camera? Oh,
Yes,
ready?
right now.
All right.
Photographer.
Come in the middle.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
That's good. Bring him in front of the podium a little bit. No, I just need to see a little bit. One more. Good job. Thank you. Quick work and a hard work.
All right. Next item we have is the approval of the minutes of May 26th. Which have been to the members of the board. Any objections from any specific, simply just to know whether everybody has it and agrees. And so we will take it under advisement, and it is sir.
Judge Smokin. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So during the period of this report, Deputy Director Ferreketic and I had no expenses. It's changing, Secretary Neal. We did attend, so
Yeah.
you know these are
We'll have some in the next-
backdated. There are some coming. There are some coming for our attendance at MML, and I bought a book on reculturing. So we have some expenses that will show up, and it is our busier season, the end of the fiscal year, and also with MACO coming up. Spending a little bit on ourselves, just joking. Next slide. It has been a very, next slide? Oh,
Maybe.
slow? So, lots of engagement over the last month. We did go to, or have a conversation with the Back River Restoration Committee. There was an event during MML with Chesapeake Utilities, and Chesapeake Utilities has made an outreach to us to see about our landfill natural gas being generated at Midshore 2. We're in the plans. Midshore 2 will be winding down over the next 8 years, And we do have a pilot project funded by a grant from MEA, looking at a Stirling engine to make electricity from the natural gas being generated. So they're interested in how we could engage with clean natural gas, mixture scrub natural gas being injected into their system on the Eastern Shore. Participated in an Old Dominion University interview. I attended an event with Deputy Ferketic at the Chesapeake Water Environment Association. It was a golf tournament. I paid for my golf myself, of course, following all rules, and we took our own time.
I volunteered. So.
But I did give a luncheon talk about the infrastructure bill and ARPA funds to the A&E community and environmental. JMT has been engaging with technical environmental services on actual support for easements for natural environment. And then the main point, I guess the highlight of all of the interaction was a great visit to the town of Leonardtown. For those that don't know the town of Leonardtown in Southern Maryland, they have an incredible waterfront. They've done a lot to develop their downtown area, and it was a pleasure to speak with the town manager and talk about support for, they're going to be upgrading their wastewater treatment plant. We have supported them in the past. They have hired MES staff to run their wastewater treatment plant. The superintendent is a MES former employee, so that was a great visit. I'd been to Leonardtown, but I'd never gone to their waterfront. And as a plug for, Southern Maryland, check out Leonardtown.
And Main Street goes
right down to the water, and they got
it as pretty as a picture.
Yeah, it's really.
It's named after Lord Baltimore's little brother Leonard.
It was the first
And I think that's good for the highlights. So, since we were on the Eastern Shore and we were coming back from MML, we decided to visit. I started this selfie movement, but I forgot to do it at Cambridge. Forgot at Cambridge wastewater treatment plant. No disrespect intended. And I thought of it too late to ask them to send a picture of the crew down at Cambridge. The city of Cambridge is also looking for some other support from MES that we learned at MML. So anyway, stopped past Cambridge, stopped past Midshore 1, Midshore 2, took pictures with folks, and everything was going well. So really learn more about the transfer station in Midshore 1. Next slide. And so on June 1st, Deputy Ferketic and I and Deputy Division Chief Joe Wright, we had the honor to support Ms. Linda Beck as she received a governor's citation honoring her service in the U.S. Army. Ms. Beck is also an incredibly hard worker in the water wastewater group with 20 years of service at MES. So cheers to Mr. Wright for being engaged with the statewide Veterans Affairs Committee, and it was a great event on a beautiful day. So again, we attended MML. We do have some follow-ups, about 6 strong leads for support for towns and municipalities throughout the state, and it was a great event. And
well played.
It was yoga position, but standing lunge, crane, or whatever. On June 16th, we celebrated the graduation of the Supervisory and Management Training Program. Thanks to the teachers and administrators from Anne Arundel Community College for leading the program. Thanks to Dr. Jana Davis from the Chesapeake Bay Trust for serving as our keynote speaker. I continue to try to find time for deep work for those that were there. After the successful relaunch of this program, we look forward to holding it again in the next year. With so many new managers and supervisors beginning at MES and so many staff seeking growth, I have no doubt that the value of supporting staff growth through this program is key as one of our pillars for the organization. And it really allows for greater interaction across both our back office and the operating groups. So I think it was a success, and I look forward to attending it next year, and thanks to Judge Schmolkin and Secretary Neal for taking the time to show up and attend the event. It was a successful event.
Thanks very much.
If I can just add something to that most wonderful people as they were taking their diploma and signing them, that just had such wonderful faces on their, I mean, they're just terrific. So it obviously is something that was a very well done matter.
Can't go wrong investing in your people. And the other thing is that this organization is a little bit silent. You know, we've got different divisions and whatnot, and this enables people to, you know, get to know each other and, share, experiences and whatnot. So I think it's very worthwhile.
Yeah.
We should do it again and keep doing it.
I second that, sir. A third? No. Can't stop saying it.
Thank you. Next slide. So this one I've got to read some comments. This is, and I have my name sheet. I got the name sheet out.
Did they let you drive that thing?
I have not taken advantage of driving any of the heavy equipment that MES operates, and I.
You don't have a
Right. On Friday, May 13th, 2022, the Keystone chapter of the Solid Waste Association of North America hosted the annual landfill equipment and truck Rodeo.
Wow.
This regional competition. This regional competition was held at the Cecil County Central Landfill in Elkton, Maryland. The Maryland Environmental Service was a strong presence with 10 participants from both our Midshore and Harford County operations. Workers in the solid waste industry never shy away from inclement weather, and this year was no different. Mother Nature provided just that, with plenty of rain on hand. A rodeo contestant must skillfully navigate an obstacle course designed to test their operational skills in every way possible, all while under the scrutiny of course judges, as well as a time clock. In the end, when the numbers were crunched and winners announced, 4 MES employees made the medal podium for 5 different events. The top winners in each event have the opportunity to take it to the next level at the International Rodeo on October 14th and 15th in El Paso, Texas. Congratulations to all who participated. So in the upper left corner, although it's even harder with the Zoom, Mike Kaiser, from left to right, Mike Kaiser, Ann Dixon, Alex Paffel, Tammy Scarborough, and Jody Byer. And then Andre Stanley is below them. And then the 4 below that are Tony Rowe, Bruce Pepper, Paul Towers, Mike Wilson. And then again, in the upper right, Miss Ann Dixon placed second in the articulated wheel loader, and hopefully will agree to represent us in El Paso, Texas. And Mr. Bruce Pepper came second place in the compactor control. Third place, Tammy Scarborough basically, maybe I can mess that up. Commas are in different places. And then, well, she came in third place in a position. And then Tony Rowe came in third place in the front loader collection truck. All right, my commas got mixed up from operations. But congratulations to all, and thank you for representing us. And hopefully they will go to nationals and win. Bruce Becker. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I participated in a rodeo like that when I was county executive, and I had the lowest time. I had the fastest time. Unfortunately, I took out all of the cones. Every one of them. Every one. 100%. I thought that was extraordinary.
Next slide. So at this time, I humbly ask for the board to vote on the strategic plan for FY 23 to 27. I intend to use, if this plan is approved, use it as a roadmap for the next 5 fiscal years, beginning next month with the development of a performance management program to track the 25 measures identified in the strategic plan. Again, I'd like to thank Mr. Jeff Tosi, Ms. Shannon Betleon, and Mr. Chuck Foley for their work on this. In addition, the executive leadership team for review, and Ms. Sharon Merkel and communications for improvement on the document. If approved, they will all be called on again, right, next month after, the summer vacations and such, to come together and begin tracking the performance measures as outlined in the plan. And with that, Judge Schmolken, I'd ask if anyone would.
Well, I think, except for that certain individual wearing something like this, gotten everybody confused in what I do. And so I just have read this several times, leaving out the part of mine, just looking at it and understanding it, and I think it's extremely well done. And it also doesn't say we do everything perfectly. And that's important. We have to know constantly what we're staying level or whatever. So the way that we're looking at this is, not everything is rosy, but we're trying to get to the point that we can, as best as we possibly can, including everyone in the system. So I think it's beautifully done, and thank everybody who had put this thing together. I think it's excellent. Questions from members of the board? Is there a motion to
Moved.
second?
Second. I'll second.
Anyone else have anything to say, or anything else? All those in favor, strategic plan, please raise your hand, say aye.
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 It's approved, and it's on for till 2027.
2027.
Well, I might not be here by then in any way. So, anyway, I think it's just going to be. Thank you very much. And the board is, I think, of it as well, so thank you.
Thanks, Judge Schmolken. I have two things that Ms. Fuller didn't have on my prepared agenda. Just to add real quickly, I would be remiss in not mentioning Back River Wastewater Treatment Plant and the fact that in the last month, Baltimore City and MDE agreed to a consent order for Back River Wastewater Treatment Plant, which was also approved. Ms. Wong?
No, I'm sorry. I said good. I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah. So
I should keep my mouth shut.
Along with that, the Baltimore City Board of Estimates approved of that consent order. Also, I signed with Director Mitchell of the Department of Public Works a reimbursement agreement that outlines our relationship, and a revised directive was also provided from MDE to MES, ending the prior and moving forward. I will make the board aware there are discussions that have not concluded on MES support for improvement at the Patapsco wastewater treatment plant as well. So I don't know if there are any questions, but that's an update on our relationship with Baltimore City. And then the only other item I wanted to I don't want to dive into it. I haven't prepared any slides for this meeting. There have been recent interactions with the Department of Information and Technology. And in essence, the Department of IT, DeWitt, is asserting controlling authority over MES and how our relations is established, MOU, billing, what services, how we pay for them, et cetera. So this is just, it's become legal between the AG's office, and we're going to work on it over the next month, and I hope to update you on resolution or progress at the next board meeting. So, and with that.
Thank you, sir. Anyone have any questions from the chief here?
Just answered most of the questions I was going to ask today.
There you go. We'll be done a half hour later.
Great. I didn't see it on the agenda, so I had my bottom lip out.
Okay. Next item is the agency activity report, which is everyone is looking at. Any members of the board have any questions with regard to this?
Why the red versus black? I meant to ask that last time.
The red is any updates that occurred this month over last month's edition. So anything in black was on there last month, and things typically remain on the written report for about 3 months before they're removed, or until they're accepted.
Okay. So have any questions on this? Did not have any motions on. All righty, next item is, Mr. Patel, our financial report. I always used to say, are we still, solvent? Now it is, or are we not? Changing.
We are very solvent, so, this is May. All this time, you know, I'm always telling you, said this is, estimated at the year end. So this is the last time I'm gonna say that, you know, what will be the estimated at year end. Next time we meet, it will be the actuals, and which will be very similar to what I've been estimating or even better. So, we'll start with the first slide of the labor sales. All these months, you know, our labor sales are less than fiscal year 21. I've been telling you that for all these months. Now they are all looking even, so we are catching up there, but it is a little misleading because in May 2022, there are 3 pay periods. And May 21, it was 2 pay periods. In June, it'll be reversed. So that's why we have a little advantage in May of $1.3 million in additional billable labor. So overall, our labor sales as of June will meet the expectations of budget, but it'll be still less, almost 1.3 million less than the fiscal year 21. But since we have the payroll accruals and the revenue accruals and all that, so it may go a little bit, but you know, it will be close to $1 million. Labor sales, even though it is only $200,000 less from last year in June, expected is 1.3 million less. Yeah. Next slide, please. However, the exciting news is that even though the labor sales are lower, our change in net asset, which is our bottom line performance measure, is better than the actual last year. At this point, last year, our total net change in net assets was $3.8 million. This year, we are at $4.1 million. Even though the labor is less, even our overhead rates are less in fiscal year 2021. The main reason for that is the 2 factors. One is our overhead expenses. We are controlling overhead expenses, so we have about $200,000 advantage in overhead expenses. So our overhead recovery is $200,000 more than the expenses as compared to last year, is much more than. The other significant difference is the project variances. If you recall, we had a service centers, you know, for fiscal year 21. So the service center has a huge billable labor. That's why, you know, right now we have a less billable labor because the service, but it was not generating profits, you know. So it was a billable labor, but there was no effect on the revenues because we were not generating enough revenue. So last year we had almost $1 million loss in the service center, but now we are breaking even. So that's another advantage. So that's why we are doing much better, about $899,000 more increase in net assets compared to last year because of these 2 factors, the overhead costs and the elimination of the project variances. One of the other things that is helping is last year, as of this time, because of we have a used oil revenues, it was negative last year. You know, it was not even covering the expenses by $3,000. This year, of course, we are all paying high prices, but we have $200,000 excess in revenues because of selling the used oil. So that is also helping us. Next slide, please. So the net assets, usually, we do not plan to increase total net assets. And it is made up of invested in capital assets and the unrestricted net assets. If you recall, we paid a $1,500 one-time bonus to the employees, and it is close to $1 million. So our net assets, eventually, when we do the June closing, it'll be $1 million less than what we have been carrying for previous years, and it will stay at that point. So it'll be $1 million less. However, we have enough contingency funds, so that is not an alarming. Of course, the auditors will look at it. You know, if you are in a private company and say, hey, you know, your net assets is increasing, but we have that reason for it. We still have contingency funds, so the net assets will be permanently decreased for $1 million going forward unless we put more in there, which we don't intend to do. So that will be around $33 million at the end of the year. It will be probably half and half, you know, the invested in capital assets, and the net unrestricted net assets will be half and half. So that will be like a constant, even though, you know, with the legislature, we tell them, you know, so we don't want to increase the net asset. This is our constant, which includes our contingency funds. Next slide, please. So as you can see, we have a full year budget of increase in net assets of $3.2 million. And at this point, we are at $4.1 million. Of course, as I say, this is advantageous because of extra billing. I project that we will wind up with the year with the increase in net assets of 3.6 to 3.8 million. Of course, there'll be, if you have foreseen needs, it will come to the board and say, okay, this is what we're gonna hold from that net assets to be spent in the next fiscal year. Other than that, most of other money will be used for best awards, the board approval, and provided we meet the best goals. And next slide, please. And this is how we came up with the financial plan. We are lucky we are getting pretty close to this financial plan because we made it 2 months into the fiscal year 22. Now, as Dr. Glass just discussed, we have a 4% billable labor goal. So our plan will start with that, you know, so we will have a billable labor goal. So next year I'll be comparing against our billable labor goal versus, you know, what was actual fiscal year 22 and what it is in fiscal year 23. However, we will keep watching the overhead and make sure that, you know, we are meeting the bottom line expectations. So that will be a little challenge, and hopefully we'll meet that challenge. And you know, that will be the starting point for fiscal year 23. 4% increase in each group's labor. Yeah. Any questions?
Anybody else?
The 4% is based on that individual's, individual, based on that particular group.
Right. Of course, you know, the measurement for MES will be total.
Right.
But, you know, in order for measuring each group's performance, we'll be keeping track of it separately too. But the strategic plan is overall for all MES. It's just the record-keeping purposes, you know, we're going to start with 4% for each group. So.
Anything else? Anything from you, sir? All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. I think we'll move on. And we now come to Mr. King.
Hey, good morning. Our vacancy rate is slightly up over last month. We're at 9.38% versus May being 9.24%. And just in the looking at the numbers, the rate is up because we've added positions, not because we've lost people. We've added positions, so that's a good thing. And we're on a good course with, keeping people employed, engaged, and here, as well as, hiring, onboarding, and that at a much quicker rate than we have been in the past. That's been a good increase for them. Overall, everything's well.
Do you think we're recovering from the Great Resignation? I mean, have we turned a corner?
This month, yes. Last month, no. Because again, it changes with every month with the number of people that decide to separate for different reasons, whether it be retirement, finding new employment, not wanting to come back to work. It's all those factors. So it goes up and down, but it's been on a increase.
So how many total positions do we add?
Since, March 17.
So
Yeah, I did that count. Yeah, since March, it's been 17. Yeah.
1, 2, and then with July 1, there's been a flurry, as you can see in the agency activity report, of work at the end of fiscal year. Ms. Latnick has a significant number of new positions coming through, so we just need to balance staying aggressive, but we're adding positions, so even as we stay static, we're getting closer. We're approaching 800 total positions again, which we had a significant dip from total positions. Down close to 720, 710.
And right now, as of today's active positions, 743. In the high number of new positions since March was 7 in the test group. 7 new positions. 3 and 5 and 1 in the other ones. 17 total since March. I just went back since March.
Anything else, sir?
Judge, how you,
Wait a second, we have one question. Go ahead.
my question is basically, do you, anticipate any significant changes from where you're headed now? Are you on a good course, in other words?
We're on a good course. If we look at the exit interviews or surveys that we get from employees, for the most part, 95% of them have been all positive reasons for separation. Not that that's a good thing, but it wasn't anything negative. We had a few, that's why it's only 95%, but we're on a good course. People are pretty satisfied. The morale, I've seen it in the last year, has increased, and just the number of positions are stabilizing, and we've got new management and supervisors in place. So better relations are definitely happening throughout.
All right, thank you, sir. Anyone else? All right, let's move on to Ms. Wang Esquire, who's the HR committee report person. And Madam?
Good morning, everyone. Earlier this morning, the HR committee met, at which time we addressed 2 matters relating to the employee performance-based compensation increases that Dr. Glass will be addressing, and the process for conducting the performance evaluation of the executive director. With respect to the employee performance-based compensation increases, these will be increases that take effect for the first pay period in fiscal year 2023, which I'm advised is June 13, 2022, not 2023, 22. And Dr. Glass this morning recommended, and you have a memo to that effect in your board packet. We'll be recommending the following percentage increases, such that based on performance evaluations, if the employee gets a score of 2.99 and under, that employee will not be getting any performance percentage increase. If the score is between 3.0 and 3.49, the employee will be eligible for a 3% increase. If the score is between 3.5 and 3.99, the employee will be eligible to receive a percentage increase of 4%, and if the score is between 4 and 5, the employee will be eligible for a 5% increase. In explaining his recommendation, Dr. Glass noted that the percentage increases were in line with the COLA increases that are provided to state government employees for the upcoming fiscal year. And the state government COLA increases range from 3 to 4.87%. So it's pretty much close to 3 to 5%. And further, Dr. Glass advised that these percentage increases are within MES's fiscal year 2023 budget. He assured me that Mr. Patel has blessed these increases. So based on Dr. Glass's presentation to the HR committee this morning, we are recommending that the board approve the performance-based salary increases as recommended.
Are there any questions from the board?
Just have one. The strategic goal to increase your labor by 4%. We raised the payroll by 4%. Didn't you just do it?
So,
Because the wage rates will go up 4%.
correct. So that will make it level, okay? And it is a goal, we are going for 4% because next year, the raises may be even lower and all that. So, of course, we are not going to stop at 4%, but if it does that, it will, when we give a 4%, the overhead employees gets 4% also. So here we are going with the billable labor, from the overhead employees, that's not increasing the billable labor. So technically you're right that, it is similar to what the raise is going to be, but at least it will be a target. Doesn't happen something like this year where we'll be lower. So.
Well, I construed the goal that if you sold 100 hours of labor this year, you're going to sell 104 hours of labor next year. The cost per hour, if it goes up, you really haven't done any additional work. It's just the cost of your work that's gone up. I just want to make sure I understand what we're striving for. We're just raising our prices. We're really not increasing our productivity.
Yes, that's the goal, is a conservative goal. We didn't have any goals until this, so we started with a conservative goal, but as I said, that's the target, we're not going to stop at that. I don't know the strategic plan, at least says 4% each year for next 5 years. If we consider that, we can revise that, to 5% next year. But from zero, at least let's start at this, and then, we'll go from there.
Understood.
The only thing I'd add is that, as you saw with this year, our billable labor is a construct of actually having people to do the work. So the challenge is for everyone involved to make sure that we have as close to 100% employment for our billable labor. And I think that would be, as you see our 9% vacancy rate and speeding up hiring, that is more of the challenge than having clients that will pay us at the higher rate.
And we're adding positions.
And we're growing.
We are
We're growing now too. And there's for the next 5 years, there's no end in sight for even the growth as ARPA and infrastructure flow to us through support for other major infrastructure. It's not going to stop. So, but we have the challenge of filling the vacancies.
So do we have the data yet on how many employees are in each category?
So, yes, Mr. Patel sent it to me at 5:51. However, it's not final.
AM.
I don't know if he printed it out. There are 599 employees that are eligible based on being here for a long enough time. Mr. Coleman printed it out. And
There you go.
there are tentatively, so there are some managers we have to talk to because they haven't finished their evaluations, but it is 2:30. So 563 evaluations have been received. Right now, 447 out of the 563 seem to be, are eligible for the 5%. So they're between they're between that range, 4 and 5. another 89 are between 3.5 and 4, and 25 are between 3 and 3.5. So we will be evaluating. I have received them from one group and evaluated it. We will confirm per our discussion in the HR committee, evaluation by Deputy Frederick and I of the other groups in all the back office, and make sure that we're not too easy or too hard in our evaluations with the general numbers, tentative numbers.
Do they fall about the same percentage-wise across the different departments, or it's hard to get evaluators to evaluate the same, right? With the same.
That's going to be part of our evaluation.
Yeah.
Okay.
And actually, Tiff Bradshaw, who is the division chief for water wastewater operations, was a regional when he had done this in the past, and he said to me, wow, he says, you do see, you know, depending on who's doing the evaluation, what area or whatever, some do it differently than others. And so I think he was trying to make sure that there was more uniformity in that group.
All right, any other questions from the board? Is there a motion on the matter? Second?
Second.
Anyone else, anything to say? All those in favor, please raise your hand and say aye.
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 Any opposed? None. Therefore, it is approved. Thank you very much, and thank you everyone who's had a part in it. Well done, and thank you.
Judge, we have a second matter also
Indeed.
relating to the process for evaluating the executive director. You'll recall that back in February of this year, in the slide, on the right-hand slide, the board approved a process for conducting that evaluation, which would include, for instance, the distribution of the evaluation form, a meeting of the board of directors, and then the final approval. In order to effectuate those procedures, we are recommending the proposed timeline that you see on the left slide here, such that hopefully the board today will establish the evaluation process and the timeline. The timeline being that the evaluation forms will be distributed to the board members in July. And at an executive session, the entire board will discuss the evaluation results. This discussion and any meeting, if that's an option, would be conducted at another location other than MES. And then at the August 25th board meeting, the group will formally approve the evaluation and any salary recommendation. I don't think this needs the board's approval at this time, but just simply, if this is okay with the board, then we'll proceed as follows in this fashion.
All right, thank you. Anyone on the board have any further questions? We are not taking a motion today, but this is to indicate things will happen in the future. But still, are there any questions before we move on?
Or the reform package, actually.
There you go. Thank you, sir. And thank you, ma'am. All right, anything else?
Thank you.
I think we talked about this COLA increase in the HR committee, and that was not discussed in the presentation.
Hold on.
Okay.
So employees, so sorry, Ms. Wong, Mr. Coleman would like me to address employees hired between October 1st and March 31st October 1st, 2021 and March 31st, October 2022, excuse me. they are eligible, we recommend that they be eligible for a 3% salary increase upon satisfactory completion of their probation. So at this point, they were not off of probation in time to be eligible for the full PVC, but at that point in time, we feel like they should be eligible for a 3% COLA.
All right.
Call for a vote.
Yeah, we need to
Okay.
have a motion on that.
I'll move approval.
Second, I'll second it. Anyone have any questions about it? For all those in favor, please raise your hand, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
None opposed, and therefore it is approved. Thank you, thanks. All right, anything else, Madam? Squire?
That's it, Your Honor, Judge.
All right. We've got a lot of Esquires around. Sorry about that, folks. Okay, let's see here. Next item, Mr. King, we're back to you, sir.
Okay. Great. Good morning again. I'm on the hot seat this morning, so feels good. Nervous, but
It's such a tough crowd.
That extra 2%.
My area is the administration for MES. I'm Stephen King. I'm the managing director for this group. And I just want to have a couple slides here just to give you an overall update on who we are, what we do, and how we operate here at MES. I feel the front picture here, we are the front-facing group or personnel here at MES. Dr. Glass refers to us as the back office, and I always counter that when I talk to my folks saying we're the front office.
There goes your 2%.
I know. Inside there, you know. But here you have a beautiful view of the building here, of where we sit here, 259 Naholes Road. I've heard it pronounced two different ways. I like Naholes. I've heard Najoles. I've heard Najoles, but I think it's Naholes.
I've actually always wondered that, so thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep. Next slide, please. Here you have a outline of who we are and the folks here in my group. You have just a diagram here of the 6 departments or divisions in our department, in our administration here: Human Resources, Safety and Environmental Compliance, Administrative Services, Procurement, Diversity, Equity and Inclusion, and Grants. So we have a lot in this area here. See, I knew somebody was going to look for somebody.
Shannon.
Oh, yeah. The administrator. Thanks, Com. We do have 26 positions in administration. 5 of those positions are currently vacant, and within the next 30 days, 2 of the 5 of those will be filled, and we'll be working on the other ones. On the far right there, you see Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. That's our newest one to the administration, part of the Reform Act when Dr. Glass and the team came on board, and that is managed by Carla Loving, a group of 1, and they're doing a fantastic job getting us up to date, up to speed, and in line with other state agencies doing diversity, equity, and inclusion work. And on the far right there is our grant, Mr. Theodore Kruger. He's also a Department of 1, doing a phenomenal job, staying on top of every single grant that comes in alignment or in contact with the MES group. But those 2, I just wanted to point out that they are groups, a person of 1 managing the whole group. And then my other groups, you see there's procurement, and you always hear from Ms. Crosby. They're doing a fantastic job as well. Administrative Services is under change. We had a change in personnel over the last 3 months there, and they're getting up to speed, but still maintaining the building is still standing. We did have a heat and air conditioning issue over the last 2 weeks, but I think we solved that. But people still are going to complain either way, whether it's too hot or too cold. Our safety and environmental compliance group, they are also hard at work with a new staff, a new crew, just about everyone in the group with the exception of the chief. So they're doing also a phenomenal job. They're been pulled to work a lot of things. So that's been a bit of a struggle, but they're getting through it. And all their new folks are coming up to speed, getting their certifications. We're going to start training more through the end of the summer into the fall. And then last but not least, our human resources group has also had some personnel changes with our chief vacating the position early in the spring. But now we're up to speed with that group, stepping up, keeping up with HR requirements, requests, and the biggest thing for them was the expediting the hiring process. And so they've been doing a phenomenal job there. Okay, next slide. So I'll just go through each little group and give you a couple highlights on the great things that they're doing or the things that they're doing. All of them are great, and I'm saying that with great pride because everyone in my works hard. They really do. I'm not just saying that because it's my group, but they really do. They're pulled in many different directions, ask questions every day. Every day is a different day, a new day, and always a change. And so we're here to support and service not only headquarters, but the personnel throughout MES. So Reginald Hill is our chief in the position. Reggie's been with us for about 7 years, newly appointed to this position. Probably April, I think he started that position. But just some of the areas in which administrative services cover, one being the front desk operation, all the change requests. We just did a great deed of vacating the annex. We had a location next door that'll be vacated by the end of the fall. Office and uniform supplies. And then the big thing with this group is that they partner with multiple other groups within our division: human resources, safety and environmental compliance, and fleet management. Next slide. Again, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Ms. Loving is the manager there, and they do a variety of things surrounding diversity, equity, and inclusion. With big thing with them is equal opportunity employment. Can't talk this morning. As well as rolling out our sexual harassment training. To date, by the end of today, this afternoon, we would have trained 426 employees throughout MES on sexual harassment training, which is a state requirement that every 2 years all employees arrive and participate and receive this training. And they also partner with our human resources department. Next slide. Human resources chief, as I mentioned earlier, that this position is currently vacant, but basically here, our human resources division serves as a resource center for all employees. Every gamut of human resources, from compensation, benefits, employee activities, all anything, learning opportunities, training opportunities, and recognition programs, along with the big picture of implementing policies, procedures, and protocols. Our HR department is the center of everything that we do here at MES, and we like to keep it that way, and we're making extra efforts in this area just to make sure that they are a stand-up, outstanding department as far as HR and human relations, employee relations going forward. Next slide. Grant, Mr. Kluger, nice slide here of some of he participates in a variety of different grant opportunities. Just a couple pictures here, one with the solar panels, solar park, and then a purchase of major equipment or trucks, and just a couple of slides there. Basically, he is the agent or the liaison for any grant applications, submissions, and he monitors the progress as we go along through the grant.
Can I ask you a quick question on this?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
When we get materials like the one we're looking at, which is a great big pickup truck, I guess, do we buy those or do we rent them?
So we buy those, and we are buying those only under the state or a government contract, like a federal government or Baltimore County. So we are getting a good price on it. It is a basic model, but it has enhanced safety features. We do the undercoating, the liner, the bed liner for the truck, but it is a state contract. So we just have those state negotiated price, which is very reasonable. The only limitation is we buy only white cars, and sometimes because of this shortage, we cannot get it. Last year, we received only few vehicles that we have ordered because, they couldn't provide us at that price. When it is selling so fast, the manufacturers don't have incentive to sell it to the government. But we are constantly, almost every week, looking at all the contract opportunities and buying that. So we are always buying that, and no renting of any vehicles.
About on the things like, excavation, operations, like you get from John Deere and all that kind of stuff?
Almost all of them, we are buying it. The only one is like at the airport, some of the specialized equipment, for, those for something that we need for a particular, short-term use. But other than that, we did a buy versus lease analysis, years ago, and a couple of times, and we just determined that, it is much better because we have so many projects. So if it is not used in one project, we can, use it to the other project. So that's why we get the full work. Usually like is a 7-year depreciation on the vehicles. We get good 10 years out of it. So, it's been very worthwhile to buy.
All right. Appreciate that. I think people that ought to have an idea of what we have out there. Thank you.
Next slide. Ms. Crosby's gonna kill me for this picture.
Like Dr. Glasses is the only one doing selfies. Exactly.
It's one of the few opportunities where I can grab a picture of it, so you both look great in that picture, Ms. Crosby.
Looks and killing.
Yeah. A little change to my presentation, but thank you. So Ms. Crosby serves as our CPPO, our Certified Public Procurement Officer in this group, and if you don't have to go back to it, but their basic mission here is to provide timely and cost-effective procurement of equipment, materials, supplies, and services to support MES. So again, Ms. Crosby is one of those groups that gets, if you will, touched or contacted or work with, partnership, collaborate with all the different divisions within MES. The other area which is of great need, and they do a very good job, is the area of minority business enterprise, as well as the Small Business Reserve Program. Next slide. And this slide here, Aaron Lanigan serves as our chief for safety and environmental compliance. Again, they are real heavy in safety inspections, training, and certifications, and it lists them all there. Just a couple of pictures here of our newest inventory, which we got all new mannequins for the training of her CPR, and then they stuck a MES hat on him so that he would be safe, even though he's in the closet right now, storage closet.
Just make sure he doesn't get on a payroll.
Right. But here's an idea of some of the great things that they do in this group. This group, again, they have primarily all their new staff. There are within the last 6 months. And so they're in the rebuilding stage, but they're doing a great job getting certified and getting up to date. And that is it. I also snatched the picture there. And then the last thing that I'll just tell you what our mission or our goals, focus areas are for administration, and that would be customer service, process improvements, and documentation. Because we have a lot of legacy knowledge here at MES, and as we grow and develop and become more efficient, we noticed that a lot of the documentation wasn't where it needed to be. So those are one of our areas that we're focusing on. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Any questions?
Just a comment. All kidding aside about back office, front office. The most important thing that you all do is you make it possible for everybody else to be able to do their jobs. And so your customers are other MES divisions and employees, and to the extent that you do it well, that enables them to get their job done.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I agree with that, and unfortunately, we can't give it the 2%.
And we're gonna send you to photography school.
I'll take it.
Can't even afford that. Rather than take them to a Chick-fil-A one. That's it.
I'll take that as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Right. Well, next, Ms. Crosby, you have a few matters here?
Okay, we have item 1, the Hartford Waste Disposal Center, and to rebuild a compactor. This is a sole source. The awarded contractor is Carter Machinery. The amount of the award is $407,664.81, and with this equipment, there is no MB participation.
Questions as to item 1 here? Hearing none. Person to the appointment here on item 1. I'll put it above. Go ahead. Second. Second. All right. Anyone else have any questions? If not, please raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
None else, therefore it is approved. Thank you.
Okay, item 2 is the beneficial reuse service for dewater line stabilizing at the Freedom District wastewater treatment plant. This was a competitively sealed bid. The contractor is Patland LLC. This is the first of 2 option years. The original contract was $146,625. The amount of the renewal is $148,125. And the total revised contract amount is $294,750. And the MBE goal on this project is 10%.
Right. Any questions as to item 2? Then, hearing none, is there a motion?
Move approval.
Second? Second. Anyone else, any matter on this item? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? One? Sorry about something. Next item.
Okay, item 3 is for the Cox Creek Expanded Community Enhancement Trail Design Support Service. This is an AE shortlist contract. The contractor is AD Marble. The amount of the original contract was $249,348.89. The amount of this change order is $184,940.72. The total revised contract amount is $434,289.61. The MBE goal on this contract is 24%.
Any questions on item 3?
Yeah.
Hearing none, that's interesting. Any questions? I'm sorry, I've got something that's just fixed. Any questions on this item? Motion?
So moved.
All right, second.
Second.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your hand, say aye.
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 Unopposed, therefore it is taken care of. Number 4.
Number 4 is the Montgomery County Yard Trim Composite Facility. This is a cooperative purchasing agreement with HGAC Cooperative Agreement. The awarded contractor, Incoverse Industries Ltd. The amount of the award is $1,075,000. This is for the Montgomery County Yard composting facility.
Right. Any questions on item 4?
I just had a quick question. I noted that in the remarks, it said that the county had directed the procurement for this specific make and model. Does MES independently review the price when Ecoverse comes back with a quote for the $1 million piece of equipment? Is there some overview that it conducts to ensure that the price that's quoted is within the realm of reasonableness for that type of equipment?
Mr. Ford has a comment on that.
Yeah, sure. So to begin with, this is purchased through a cooperative purchasing agreement. And so that was through a competitive bid, and in review of those prices, there's a significant discount that's associated with this purchase. The retail price for these are 1.2, 1.3 million. So the price is reasonable. The client did recommend this particular piece of equipment, and we are the operator there, not the owner of the site. So we agree with that recommendation and move forward with the purchase.
All right.
Did you hear all that, Ms.
Thank
Wong?
Yes, I did. I didn't realize it was part of that cooperative contract agreement. So that's helpful. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Anything else? All right, hearing nothing more, is there any motion on this one? I'll move it.
I'll second.
All right. Any other matters before we take the vote? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your hand, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
See none opposed, therefore it is approved. That's to item 4. Moving on to item 5.
Okay, item 5 for the Brown Station landfill gas power plant operation and maintenance. This is a sole source. The contractor is Curtis Power Solutions, LLC. The original contract was $1,362,800, and the amount of this change order is $1,273,080. The total revised contract amount is $2,635,880, and the MVE goal on the contract is 10.3%.
Anything on to be asked on item 5?
I'd like to ask a quick question about the
All right.
goal of 10.3%, and so far, zero has been met. So I guess my question is there something in the procurement process that suggests an organization can come in later than initially?
Yes, the MBE work is supposed to have started May of this year. So it just began, so that information is not recorded yet.
Thank you.
Anything else, sir?
No.
Okay. Any other matter? Yes, go ahead, Mr. Neal.
On the last paragraph, says the county informed MES in May that their pipeline replacement projects on hold. Pipeline delay directly impacts contract power solution. A liberal reading of that is that the county is costing us money, costing the project money because it's on hold.
That details, Mr. Ford?
So there, we have to have a contract in place to operate that equipment, power equipment for prison. The gas is conveyed through that pipeline. So it is down to repairs. I wouldn't categorize it as costing the county money. The contract has to be in place, but there is construction associated with the work ongoing right now. Restart of that equipment.
Well, I was just looking, a change order is almost as big as the original contract.
It's extending the contract another year is what the change.
Extending another year. All right, thanks.
All right. Anyone else? Hearing none, any motion for approval?
So moved.
Move approval.
This has been seconded. Anything else before we move on? Please raise your hand. Aye. Aye. None is opposed, therefore, number 5 is approved. Put on.
Okay, item six is for the Test and Environmental Service Group. This is stormwater management and remediation. This is an assisted contract with MDTA. The awarded contract is Corner Building, Inc. The original amount of the contract was $2 million, and this amount of the change order is $2,500,000. The revised total contract amount now is $4,500,000, and there is a 9% veteran business administrative goal.
Any questions on this? All right, hearing none, is there any motion?
So moved.
Motion has been moved. Second? I'll second it. Second. All right, anything else before we take the vote? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your hand, say aye.
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 And Judge, I'll be abstaining from the vote and its consideration in the vote.
Which vote?
This one is just a vote.
Number 6.
That's what I thought. Just wanted to make sure. Okay. So.
Just as a note, as you see on the slide, part of this work, unheralded, but MES support for the sinkhole on I-270 that is causing traffic delays, right, 2 lanes for an extended period, so the board's aware.
All right.
Wow.
There's one recusal, but otherwise there's sufficient. Okay. Thank you. Next.
Okay, item 7 is for the Back River wastewater treatment plant. This is an emergency purchase of 4 Yemen pumps. The awarded contractor is Hill Industrial. The amount of the contract is $359,883.80.
It looked like it needed new pumps. Anybody have any questions on this?
I have one question. It's similar to the question that Ms. Wang voiced earlier. Because this is an emergency procurement, obviously you can't do the full bid process, but do we have reasonable assurance that this is in the right ballpark for price?
I think our maintenance crew purchase enough pumps and work with Hills frequently, and they feel confident that this is a good number.
Thank
you. Any other questions on this item? Hearing none, all those, if you have a motion, please state the motion. State it. I move it. Anyone else for? Second?
Second.
Anyone have any other questions on the item? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your hand, say aye.
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 Yeah.
All right. It has been approved then. Thank you. Move on to number 8, please.
Okay, number 8 is the Woodstock Job Corps Center wastewater treatment plant upgrade. This was a competitively sealed bid. The contractor is HR Construction LLC, also known as M2 Construction. There were 3 change orders to this contract. The original contract amount was $8,184,300. The amount of this change order is $310,428.37. The total revised contract amount is $8,610,781.20, and the MBE goal on the project is 14%.
All right. Anything as to item 8? Hearing none. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second? Second has been made. Any other matters before we take the vote? Hearing none. For all those in favor, please raise your hands. Aye.
Aye.
Anyone else? I don't see anything else, so therefore we have approved it on item 8. Thank you, ma'am.
Eastern Correctional Institute wastewater treatment plant sludge facility upgrade. This is a competitive sealed bid also. The awarded contractor is HRI Construction LLC, which is also M2 Construction. The amount of the award is $2,381,700 with an MVE goal of 15%.
All right, any questions from the board on this? All right, any have a motion? Second, I'll second it. Anything else before we vote? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Hearing none, it is approved as item 9. All right.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
It's, a lot. Big difference, yeah.
End of, and we're on item 10.
Yes, item 10 is for the Environmental Dredging and Restoration Group. This is the Cox Creek Dredge Material Containment Facility. This is an intercooperative contract purchase. The awarded contractor is National Auto Fleet Group. The amount of the contract is $275,960. I'm sorry.
Any questions on item 10? Hearing none, is there a motion for it? I'll move it.
I'll second.
Second has been, any other matters before we take the vote? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your hand, say aye.
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 None is opposed.
It is.
And therefore, item 10 is approved, and that's
That's it.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that.
Notification.
All right. Now we have the notifications of less than 200,000. Anyone wants to take a look at that? Questions that you have?
I had a question about the fuel delivery. Are we having somebody ride shotgun on those deliveries?
What have you begun? Thank you very much. I think we'll proceed on. Let's see here. Is it slide number 2? There we go. Okay. John, our legal report.
It is the end of the fiscal year. We've been extremely busy. You saw earlier the number of proposals and new work that the agency has been involved with, and we've been reviewing all of those proposals. A lot of contracts coming through as our clients try to spend their money before the end of the fiscal year too. So we've been busy with a number of the back office chores that and Dr. Glass mentioned earlier as well, the Back River agreement. Priscilla Carroll and I have been very much involved with working with Baltimore City, with attorneys at MDE on those, and we are assisting the agency with respect to issues that may come up related to the Patapsco wastewater treatment plant. We have some other litigation underway, but it's kind of at the simmering level right now. That's all I've got.
All right. Thank you very much. Have finished up what we have ended. Okay. Are there any other business and any matters that is to be heard? All right. The next meeting is on Thursday, 25 July 2022. At that time, we will be at 30, not at 1000. Okay. And that concludes a part of the matter here. There is, however, a question for closed session.
Just one before that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just so the board members, we're down to a quorum right now due to vacations in July. So hopefully all of your schedules are set for those that will be in attendance. Please let Mrs. Fuller know or Mrs. Leach know if there's a change, because we are down to the quorum for the next meeting.
Okay. Anything else?
And everyone, I'm going to have to, this is Marion, my computers have frozen, so I'm going to have to sign up, but I'll just log back in, so I don't know when you go into closed session, whether that's going to create a problem. Should I just log in on the original line, Pam?
Yes, just log in on this link again, and I'll have, and Ms. Leach will transfer.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Now, the board intends to meet in closed session for the following reasons as permitted under Section 3-305B1 of the general provisions of articles of the annotated code of the state of Maryland. And the purpose is to discuss the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance or evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials over whom this public body has jurisdiction, any other personnel matter that affects to one or more specific individuals. It's about 15 different things. But anyway, that's what the statute says. Comes out of the General Assembly. All right. Are there any objections from the board with regard to this matter?
I move we close the meeting.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone who agrees to second it?
Okay.
Second has been made. All those in the board among here, please, if you have nothing else to say, raise your hand and
Aye.
aye. Aye has been, therefore it is approved by a sufficient amount. And therefore the board will be closed.